Though we all have traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our histories and stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide insight and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged.
As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one.
Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
Can we build a better future for ourselves?
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us on this Memorial Day, Monday, 21st of May, 27th of May, 2024. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
Did you say YouTube?
I did say YouTube.
Huh.
Huh. We'll see how long this lasts.
We should be good.
We should be. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we're normally pretty good.
We are pretty good. I just have to, choose my
hair is
words.
on my mic.
Oh, Lord. You couldn't have done that before. That's really noisy. Do I need to mute your microphone? There we
Yes.
go. Yeah, we muted your microphone. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. How's everybody doing today? Hope that you had a good Memorial Day. Anybody that you were sharing in your heart today, please share in the comments with us. We would appreciate those names. Those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. And another one of the many reasons that we have to make sure that we're making sure that we continue to have this nation, because so many have
Yes.
given their lives up for this.
Absolutely. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Lightspear.
What's going on? And Bethany Ann. What's going on,
Yes.
Bethany Ann?
Bethany Ann says, I'm grateful for all servicemen and women that we have lost while fighting for my freedom.
There we go. All right. Yeah, it's
Absolutely. So the first video I'm going to play, because a lot of people, they kind of get them confused. Veterans Day, you thank a veteran. Memorial Day is to actually say,
to remember those.
to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. So it kind of grates on my nerves a little bit when someone says Happy Memorial Day, because it's not a happy day.
But
I
we
know
should be
you're-
happy.
Okay, explain.
Okay. So the reason why we should be happy is because we still have the freedom, and we're happy that there are those who are willing to give their lives for our freedom and for our way of life as written under the Constitution of these United States. Is it a happy and joyous occasion that people lost their lives? No, not at all.
No.
Not even a little bit, because those that are left behind definitely suffer the most.
Yes,
And we've experienced that firsthand.
we have.
But at the same time, if maybe we should have a joyous, I'd see it's a difficult thing. What are you supposed to say?
I just don't. I don't agree with
I understand.
happy.
Yeah,
Because for me,
yeah.
today, actually leading up all weekend, I couldn't get Mayo Day Rodriguez and Martinez off my heart.
Yeah, I know. They've been weighing on my heart as well.
Because they did pay the ultimate sacrifice for us.
They did. They did. They lost their lives
So,
in service to this nation, and
yes.
many, many, many more.
Many
that
more.
we could never go through all of the names. Just pick a war, and there's still too many names. Thank you, Turber. I just did my part. It's not about veterans today, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely about those who lost their lives.
So I'm going to play
yeah.
this video and then we'll talk.
Then
more.
we'll talk afterwards. Yeah, that makes sense. And thanks for joining us, Turber.
Yes, thank you.
This Memorial Day, I want you to truly remember what this day is about. Although you might be doing cookouts and partying, lighting up fireworks, getting plastered, all those things, starting off summer, etc., that is not what this day is about. Today is a somber day. Today is a day of remembrance for our fallen brothers and sisters in uniform that didn't get to come home, that aren't with their families this weekend. Today is a day to reflect on them. I think a lot of people misconstrue Memorial Day, 4th of July, Veterans Day. They all have a different significance to it. But take a moment today. Keep these people in your thoughts and prayers. There's a lot of people that are having a hard day today because their comrades are gone, are no longer with us. These are the people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for you to be free and for you to have your freedoms. So don't forget them today. Go hard on the 4th of July when we say America, fuck yeah. But the long weekend, it's not what it's about.
So
there it is. Short and sweet and to the point. And that's really what it's about. It's about the ultimate sacrifice that people gave their lives in love of their brothers and sisters that are back home here in the United States. And they're obviously parents and their siblings and their children.
Wives.
Did I not say wives?
No.
Oh, I meant to say wives. Anyways, all right.
It's a very difficult situation.
It is difficult because lives are lost. Yeah.
So,
but their memories will live on through us. And I think that that's part of the Memorial Day. And that's the reason behind the Memorial Day is by remembering these people and the sacrifices that they made, that we keep them and their memory alive. And I think that that's the important part that we need to keep in mind is that there are spouses out there, there are children out there who are missing their husband or wife or their dad or their mom. People are not here. And so by remembering these people and understanding that this country and this Constitution, our way of living, is worth dying for, that is what keeps this American experiment to live. It shouldn't be something that as many people have died should have died, but it is something that has happened. And so it's something that we need to keep near and dear to our hearts and to understand the sacrifices that have been made up to and including the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Sometime back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
I'm going to try and make it through this show.
I understand. Good old President Reagan always had a way with words, didn't he? Again, the ultimate sacrifice. He says we can't give thanks enough, but the best thanks we can give is to make sure that this nation continues on for their children, for our children, for your children, for everybody's children. That sacrifice would be meaningless if the American experiment were to die at any point in time in the future. It is about freedom. It's about the best chance for each and every person up to this point in time to live freely. Otherwise, there's always tyranny. And the best recipe against tyranny is our founding, the very fabric of what founded this nation. And that's why each and every one of these people put their lives on the line. I know this. I know this because they cared about something greater than themselves. And this nation is something greater than themselves. Every other form of government that's been tried has not provided as much freedom as this nation has. And so I do say that we can repay them, but that's to make sure that this American experiment is able to continue on.
Yeah.
So that way their sacrifice was not done in vain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play this little clip of this little song, and I just want people to really listen to the words.
All righty.
So I'll take off my hat, raise up my drink to the ones that give it all for the US of A. Say a prayer for the families, Lord give them strength. There's a folded flag in a frame. And I just want to say thanks on Memorial Day.
Said I was going to try and make it through.
Yeah, I got you. The words hit a little bit harder today.
They do.
And we should let them sink into our hearts.
And it for me, it hits hard because not only did I personally know these 4 men that we lost, 4 out of, I know, millions, but I was also told that you were lost.
Yeah.
And so today is very difficult for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's not much I can say. They were great lyrics. And yeah, we should let these things go to our heart today, because the reason why people do this is because they were using their heart, and their heart. Yeah. All right. I don't have a whole lot of words here, Kay.
I know. You ready?
Yeah.
Mike Goebel. Hero. One of the greatest Green Berets to walk the face of the planet. Roy Benavidez level Green Beret. I walk up to a door, and I don't know how he knew this. I don't know if he was precog, like maybe he came from the future and came back in time. And I walk up to this door. Divine intervention has happened multiple times in my life. I walk up to this door. We see bad guys move into this building. And as soon as I go to reach for the handle of the door, Mike and I, we always had like some friction. We had been in a couple of fights over some dumb stuff. He was in a machine gun position. He had a pistol out. I was like, why aren't you on your machine gun? He's like, well, I want a pistol kill. Like, you're a stupid idiot. And we went fist fight. So like, fast forward to this
Typical
door.
Neanderthal conversation.
100%. I put my hand on this door, and he hits me so hard and shoves me, and I stumble back and fall over as this door gets shredded with machine gun fire. And I don't know if he like heard a bolt drop or if he heard a selector switch. There's no way, because I was at this door, right? Like, I didn't hear anything. All I know is like I just start falling back, and I'm like trying to get my feet because I'm gonna come at him and knock his teeth through his face because he just shoved me because I thought he wanted to be the number one guy through the door. And as soon as he shoves me, it pushes him back, and this door just gets shredded with machine gun fire and saves my life.
Thoughts?
There is definitely a sixth sense that you pick up when you're out there. Things that are indescribable and unexplainable. Your senses definitely are on hyperdrive, and so and it's that love. I mean, yeah, you sit there and you fight with your fellow brothers and sisters and whatnot on a general basis. It's a testosterone club, and all of that's out the window. All of that's out the window because you realize you're there for each other. I've said this on more than one occasion. It's the people that I miss more than anything else. I miss the people. I miss the camaraderie, uh, and I miss the people that are no longer here because of all of that. But at the same time, it definitely heightens your senses, and that's something that you can share with those people that you went overseas with, um, because we all felt that, and we all felt that love for our brother, and that we were willing to lay down our life for each other, and sadly, that does happen. And again, that's what we're here to remember today for.
Absolutely.
They are the reason for the day.
They are the reason.
Yeah.
I know that just being around you and the brotherhood that you still have with a lot of these people, it's very strong.
Mhm.
It's very strong, and I know that everyone is
Everybody's-
celebrating them today.
Yeah, everybody that knew them is celebrating them because they are still to this day worth celebrating.
Yes.
And that includes the people that I didn't know. All of the names, so many names. And Reagan touched on that too. And that was just Vietnam and all of the wars that we've been through. We could never know all of the names, but that's what makes this day so important. So I think it's much more important than Veterans Day.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. And
raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And to bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
so help me God.
How many times have you said that?
Oh God.
Lots.
Like 6. I think something like that. A lot of times.
Yeah.
It's
As you were saying it, as they were saying it.
well, it's something that sticks with you, and you start to really understand and get to know your oath, and you get to understand that it's set in precedence. And so just because there may be a president who is doing things against the Constitution is stated first. And so that supersedes any unlawful orders, because the lawful orders are the ones that are stated. And I remember that there was a time when everybody was reaffirming their oath to the Constitution, reaffirming their oath of service. And I think that there were a lot of classes that were happening at that time, that it's not about one individual, and it's not about any, hey, Jan, thanks for joining us. It's not about any one individual, and that the preeminent thing that you're taking an oath to is the Constitution. So help me God.
So help me God.
And he will. He gave divine providence to create this nation. He will give divine providence to save this nation, provided that the people have come to God. And I think that that's the important part.
Absolutely.
Is this is God's country.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
A little lighter.
Oh, how expensive it is.
Yes.
Here's your tax dollars.
So,
It's an expensive game.
hey, Ghost Pepper.
Hey, Ghost Pepper. Thanks for joining us. It's an expensive game, and they're expensive toys to play with, but
They are.
it's one of the reasons why the budget is so expensive. Sadly, there's a black budget that is much larger than that budget that you just saw.
Yeah,
Who knows where that money's actually going?
I know.
Hmm.
And I know you shot off a lot of those Sabo rounds.
I did, as a matter of fact. They're fun.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard all about it.
Anyways, driving on.
Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
I asked God, "Why are you taking me through troubled waters?" He replied, "Because your enemies can't swim." I asked, "Why do I always feel like I'm failing and struggling?" He answered, "Because your growth and accomplishments come from facing challenges and overcoming difficulties. Every failure is a stepping stone to success." I asked God again, "Why do I sometimes feel like life is filled with pain and helplessness?" He responded, "Because in your weakest moments I am by your side. I use your pain to shape your character and your helplessness to showcase my power." Continuing, I inquired, "Why do I have to experience disappointment and setbacks?" He replied, "Because in disappointment you learn to trust. In setbacks you learn to persevere. I am with you every step of the way, guiding you toward victory." Finally, I asked, "Why do I always feel confused and lost?" He answered, "Because you overlook my plan for your life. When you focus on me, I will smooth your path and provide you with clear direction. Trust me, everything is within my control." If you believe this message was meant for you, comment, "Trust in God." God bless.
This one hit hard today
Mm-hmm.
because just full transparency, you guys know I am who I am, and I'm just going to speak my mind. I've been struggling, and I don't know what plan he has for me.
Well,
And
he loves you, and his plan is for you to grow.
it's just hard.
I know.
Wait, go ahead.
But that's where we learn perseverance. That's where we get our strength. This is where we've made it through 100% of the challenges that we've had up to this point in time. You know, the first one, why are you putting me through troubled waters? Because your enemies can't swim. We don't always know the reason why. We just know that we're going through those struggles at this moment. And that's so that way we can grow. We only grow when we're struggling. We don't grow when it's easy. We grow when there's something that's difficult, those challenges. That's why the struggles are good. We should embrace the struggles. We should embrace the hard times. We should embrace these things because it means that we are getting better. We are getting stronger. We are getting bigger and better in every single way. And so, yeah, we may be struggling. Everybody struggles, but that's a good thing. Good. I'm glad there's struggles because it means that you're growing and that you're worth trying to teach. You are teachable. It may be hollow at this point in time, but once you make it through the storm, and as we connect to God and we find that connection as we are going through these struggles, we are finding ways to get better. And that's a good thing. We can always rejoice afterwards. It may not be easy to rejoice in that moment, but those moments certainly help us grow more. And that's important too. It teaches us perseverance, that perseverance to be able to persevere through all of these hardships, through these difficult times. It's what makes everything right in the end. You can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs. You can't build a house without cutting the wood. There's going to be sweat. There's going to be pain. Hopefully you don't hit your thumb too many times with the hammer. Hopefully we learn. It's kind of one of those teaching moments, right? And so we are here to learn and to grow. Because if we're not growing, then what is the point of being here? We're just sitting idly by, and the world will pass you by. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to grow. And these pains that we've gone through, the pains that everybody has gone through and is currently going through, know that it's a good thing for you. It's a good thing for you to go through these struggles, because these struggles means that you can do more. You can do it. You can make it. It's time to buckle down. It's time to understand what the lesson is. Do you understand the assignment? It may not be an easy assignment, but that assignment is to make things better in the end. All these pains and heartaches that we go through, we're the ones that are going through them so we can find a solution. And not necessarily just for ourselves, but for everybody else around us too. It's up to other people to listen. If they choose to listen, then they can do other things, or they can help other people. That is the point. The struggle is the point. The point that we are supposed to get better and that we have that capability. God has faith in us. God has faith in you, in each and every one of you. That's why you go through these things. Find that strength within you. Find the light in the middle of that darkness, and you will be delivered. So that way you can help others in the future.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's a tough day.
It is a tough day. It is about the loss of life. We've all lost those that we love. It's something, well, to remember. It is a day to remember. It is a day to memorialize not only the individuals, but the sacrifice that it does take to be free.
Yeah.
It may not look like the freedom everybody wants, and it may be for some cabalish kind of, oil money, whatever the case is, whatever you feel it is. It may be that they were started for those reasons, but it doesn't mean that good things didn't happen in those places overseas.
Right.
Because each and every one of those young men out there, and they're all young men, each and every one of those young men that went out there, they have a heart, and they tried to use their heart as best as they could.
And I would just say, keep these families. You don't have to know them.
No, you
Just keep these families in your prayer. And if you are going to have a drink, lift a drink to the ones who gave you your freedom.
Yeah. It is a day for the Gold Star families. And if you don't know what the Gold Star is, the Gold Star flag, basically it's a a flag with a yellow star in the middle of it, and it signifies that somebody lost a loved one in service to the military during combat operations. And those are the people that are left behind. Those are the family members, and those are the widows and orphans that we are to take care of. And so those are charities to look for yourself, if you are so moved, as any of the Gold Star charities. I don't think the Gold Star community would allow a shady one. It's the wrong community to mess with. But I will say that that is a strong community, and they do need support, because just as much as you hear about veterans getting screwed, Gold Star families get screwed all the time.
Yeah.
It's not just veterans. The Gold Star families need that support as
Yeah.
well.
And I know that Miss Deborah watches this show sometimes, and I just want to say,
If you're watching, Deborah, we
if
love
you're
you.
watching, I love you.
We think about you more often than you know.
Are you ready for some
All of
Kelly?
the family members, yes. Yeah.
Hey, Christian, I know that it feels like you're in the fight of your life right now, and it feels like it is coming at you from all sides. Can I remind you of something? In Exodus 14:14, it says that the Lord himself will fight for you. You just stay calm. Even better, the Message translation says the Lord will fight for you. You keep your mouth shut. Amen. Look, we need to understand that if we are trying to fight our battle, we have tied God's hand behind his back. But if we will let him fight, if we will lay it down in his throne and give it to him, his track record is perfect. He's never lost the battle. Amen. You just got to remember that God is a gentleman. And if you want to fight your battle, he'll let you. Or if you want to give it to him, he'll fight it for you. So lay it down at his throne today. Come on, we preaching today. Lay it down at the throne. Let your Father fight for you. He's never lost the battle. He won't start with you today. Think about that for a minute.
I love Kelly.
Right.
I pray for him going to Walmart, though. Thoughts, Kay?
Hold on.
Jan says, you want to say it? Okay. Jan says, love you, Kay. Listen, I understand your heart at the moment. Since my late husband's death in 2018, it's been one issue after another that I've been faced with. But I'm here to tell you, God will always be there and will walk with you. Stay strong. Stay focused right now. You may not know why, but one day you will. Thank you, Jan. Beautifully said.
Jan.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
I'm struggling with a lot of things that are going on right now.
There's been a lot going on.
And this day just kind of
Well,
overwhelms me.
and I think that video from Kelly is exactly what we need. We all need to hear that God does fight our battles for us. And a lot of the times it's hard to let go of those struggles, to let go of those battles, to sit back and say, not necessarily relax, but without a doubt, watch and see how the Lord works. That's probably one of the most amazing things that we can see, is see how the Lord works. God, I know you know I'm struggling with this right now. I need your help. And when I say I need your help, I need you to, Jesus, take the wheel kind of thing, right? we got to let go, and letting go is one of the hardest things, because every single one of us was raised to take control of your life and do what you have to do. All of those things that, all those little phrases that we were told when we were growing up. But at the same time, the Bible tells us that we need to let go and let God. It's not easy, but that's how we learn. That's another way how we grow. And we just have to push through. And we need to keep our focus on God. How fast can you run to the cross? And I think that is one of the things that can probably help us more than anything else, is how fast can we run to the cross? So.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Boy, we're just burning through these things today.
I know. We're going to go to a little different right now.
A little different route? All right, here we go. Facts that will ruin
a Gen Xer's day. Wilford Brimley was 49 years old when he started filming Cocoon. That means I'm already older than Wilford Brimley was when he was in that movie. I'm going to need time to process this. In Back to the Future 2, the year that Marty went into the future is almost 10 years old now. Believe me, I did not like making this video and spreading this great news. Remember Kurt Loder from MTV News? Yeah, he's 79 years old now. And 39 years ago was the last time MTV played music. Most of us are now closer to 80 years old than 1980. And the last one. When we talk about the 1980s today, it's the equivalent of our grandparents in the 1980s talking about the 1940s. Yeah, that one hurt a lot when I realized this. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Wow.
Have a nice day, he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he just breaks my heart.
We're old now.
Apparently.
The whole thing about, you know, when we talk about the 80s, it's like our grandparents talking about the 40s.
Uh-huh. I know. I just thought that just hits
different.
I don't like him. I hope his toilet paper feels like sandpaper.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
Well,
it's pretty rough, actually.
Exactly. Exactly.
Time marches on.
Yeah, he can kiss my butt.
Well, we've come a long way. We've fallen pretty far too in comparison. That's why it's absolutely necessary for Gen X to do what exactly Gen X is doing, and that's standing up and not taking this crap anymore. We don't have to take it.
We don't have to take it.
And we shouldn't take it. These are the things that we need to stand up for. And on this Memorial Day, I think that's a good reminder.
Yes.
It's a good reminder because we are the link to the past. And obviously, there's still plenty of boomers around, and they have an even better link to the past than we have right now.
I know.
But I think it's important that we do it now before those links to the past are absolutely gone, and future generations can only go off of his story books, the history books that have been changed.
Yeah.
Since we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that thought, it's those memories. And this is another thing to remind us why this is the time. And this time that is happening that we are in, it is imperative that we ensure that the future of this nation is able to continue and that we are able to write the history books. So that way we can have our children and grandchildren, actually grandchildren, great-grandchildren anymore, have them know what this thing is all about and why it's worth dying for. And that's one of the things that the disciples taught us. People told them that they were lying, and they said, no, I'm not lying, and they were willing to die for it.
Yeah.
Is fighting for this country the same as being a martyr for Christ? No, probably not. But at the same time, this nation was founded for that religious freedom because Christians have been persecuted since the beginning of Christianity.
Yeah.
That's another main reason why it's important. So we must win this battle for the people's minds so that way this nation can continue on and the freedom to believe in Christ continues.
Yes.
Yeah. Have the day you deserve.
There you go.
That's exactly what that video was about. Have the day you deserve.
Can you pull up the
Flanders Field? Yeah, I can do
video,
that.
please?
Yeah, we'll share this. So this goes back to World War I, and it's the poem written about Flanders Field, and it's the reason why the Veterans of Foreign Wars sells poppies. So we'll just continue on with this.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
He didn't make it back.
No, it's a it's a harrowing poem. A lot of people don't make it back. The poppies grew where all these people. It was the first thing to grow. It was the first thing to grow in no man's land in France in World War I. And so that's why the poppy became so important, because they felt that life could not ever grow in those fields ever again. And going to Flanders Field would be a lifetime desire of mine, to pay my respects for all of those people.
Yeah.
It's really deep.
It is.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's tough.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about Sodom and Gomorrah.
All right. Yeah, let's lighten the mood a little bit and talk about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, gotta do something to lighten the mood. Ready?
All right.
People say, what about Sodom and Gomorrah? Where's that at? Well, the Lord said in Genesis 19, he would rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone. Brimstone is burning sulfur. The city's all burned, and the bricks have actually turned to ash. Peppered in that ash, there are thousands, actually millions of sulfur balls. These are actually pieces of 99% sulfur. The outside is kind of a white color, but if you break it open, it's a little more yellow inside. Apparently it burned itself out. Golf ball size, variety of size. It literally rained sulfur on that city. I've had several friends, even some scoffers, who said, I don't think that's true. And they went over there to the place where Ron said they were, and they dug through the ash, and sure enough, there are literally millions of these sulfur balls. If you scrape off this white coating, it's pure yellow sulfur, 99.6% pure sulfur. As the sulfur would burn itself out, it would encapsulate itself in its own ash and shut off its oxygen supply. Ends up with a coating around a pure sulfur ball. Found no place in the world except this place over there.
Thoughts, Santino?
Well, there's lots of things where people have scoffed and said that the Bible isn't real, and this is one of those places. It never existed. Where is it? You can't point to it. Blah 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 blah. And then yet, lo and behold, they find these things that provide the actual evidence that that is Sodom and Gomorrah, and that these kinds of terrible things did occur there. That the bricks turned to ash, and that there's sulfur balls there. Millions of them all over the place. And so it's one more of those things where
it tells me the Bible is real.
It's one more of those things that tells me that the Bible is real as well. And yet we don't hear about this, and it is taken out of the history books, so that way people forget about it. They hope that people forget about it. They hope that people don't find it and that they don't get that information. But this is part of and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set ye free. This is a truth. This is a truth that's hidden. And so as we search and as we find, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that we are. Hey, Rambo, what's up, brother? It's a beautiful thing that we do find these evidences that Sodom and Gomorrah are real, and that it did get burnt to a crisp, and that it was, destroyed in a fire of fire and brimstone. Right there. There's the evidence, fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
And so it's just one more of those things. And I think it's one of those things that'll help people that are on the beginning of their journey to see the truth that's out there. Jan says, so much science in the Bible that people don't realize. Boy, isn't that 100% true?
Right.
So many things.
It's one of those things. The reason why Memorial Day is so important. A lot of people do confuse it with 4th of July and Veterans Day. So that's what happens though. Wait, there's science in the Bible and here's proof here. And it's just one of those things that it makes me wonder why people don't ask the questions. Hey, Steph.
Hey, Steph, thanks for joining. It is. There's evidence all over the place. I like to point out the fact that we found seashells on top of Mount Charleston.
Mhm.
That place
That is
is
higher than Denver.
it's a lot higher than Denver up at the peak of Mount Charleston. All over the place. Shells everywhere. More than a mile high.
You know how shells got up there? It was underwater.
It was the Anunnaki. It was the aliens. Just dropping seashells.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just drive-by shelling.
Drive by, UFO by shelling. Just drop some shells out the UFO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
How about some interesting, not going to make Kay cry video?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Yeah, I'm struggling, so we're gonna go
Keep
with
saying.
my Doc Hollywood.
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday sound alike here. You ready?
Yep.
So get a load of this. The Bronx, New York just recently became MAGA country, and the Democrats are shitting broken glass. How is this possible? No, New York will never be MAGA. Ever. Oh, well, it is. And he's going to take Brooklyn and then Queens. Have you seen their news reports? No, don't go to the rallies. Don't go to the rallies. Stay home. And then they want to take timestamps from when the rally began and when the rally ended and be like, see, look, the crowds are small. They're not big crowds. And look how many people were leaving. No, don't go. Don't go to the rally. Don't go to the rally. I mean, these assholes are shitting broken glass right now. They can't fucking stand it. I think it's fucking hilarious. Because once again, Donald Trump, for the 1,000th time, has turned the tables and yanked the rug right out from underneath their feet and beating them at their own damn game. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. I fucking love it.
Thoughts.
Well, we knew that they were going to lose their minds.
Yes.
And we know that the press does the games with the crowds, try to make it seem like there's no reason to go there, or whatever the case is. Although we were talking about something a little bit earlier today about how the cameras aren't up on the pedestals anymore.
Right.
And really what that's going to do is it's going to let the crowd get in the way and actually make it look like the crowd is larger. And so you have CNN and MSNBC trying to show that there are no crowds. Yeah, I know. The legacy media. And then, but yet at the same time, since the cameras aren't up on a plinth or a raised platform or anything like that, it's looking like there's more crowd there than ever before. And then we've seen with our own eyes the pictures that people are taking, the panoramas. RSBN's really good about doing panoramas and showing the size of the crowd. And he brings up an excellent point that all of these boroughs within New York City are actually getting, like, they are turning for Trump. More and more people every single day. And I really do believe that they are going to lose New York, as much as they wanted to turn Texas blue and all that other crap that they've been trying to do through their subterfuge by, the same tactics that they used in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Alabama, or Georgia, rather, all of these states where they, had to shut down the polling centers and send away all of the poll observers. And then all of a sudden, all of these votes change. It's not going to happen. And I don't even think that they're going to be able to do it in New York City.
I know.
Let alone the whole state of New York.
What Trump say? Too big to rig.
It is going to be too big to rig this time. And I think that that's something that we should rejoice about and through is that this is actually happening and that people are learning that they need to go to the poll. Don't use those mail-in ballots if you don't have to. And that's what mail-in ballots were only ever supposed to be, was because you had no other choice.
Right.
And usually it was service members or people who work for a company and are living overseas for a period of time.
Right.
Instances like that where you just can't make it back to your polling location. And so,
but if you can, please, 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 please get out and vote.
Yeah.
And normally it's so fun to talk to the people in line. You end up meeting some really cool people.
Yeah.
So please, please, please go out and vote in person.
yeah, you get a chance to be around some people, fellow citizens, people who love this country and know that things should be better than they are right now. And I think that's the important part, because those who are cheating aren't going to show up to cheat. And if they do, they're not very bright, and there's not that many of them. So understand that when you go out to vote, it is another way. It's like the Trump rallies. When you see a whole bunch of people at the polling locations, you know that your fellow citizens are active and they care, and that they're showing up on election day to go vote. And that is important, because that's another reassurance. It'll be your last reassurance when you go to vote and you see thousands of people there.
Yes.
And so that's why it's important. Jan says, I work the polls and love it, meeting great people. And that's the thing, is everybody, generally people are good. Individually, people are great. In big crowds, that's a different story. We're more like cattle. Yeah, we're more like cattle in big crowds. But with that being said, get to know the individuals. And individually, every single person that you meet is going to be worth meeting. And that's one of the joys of life and being alive is we get to meet people. And I think that that's another reason why we should get out there.
Steph says, I always go in person on the day and vote. I agree with you.
Immune Ninja. I love the name. Welcome, friend. Everyone, trust me. I got an idea. Make at that tell AT that tells the world one thing. Let's make America red forever.
I love that.
That's fun. Well, we need diversity in opinion and thoughts, and I think that that's important too. But since we've had all of the blue ideas shoved down our throats, I think that we're sick and tired of that, because it's been miserable and it's making this country worse and worse every single day that it persists. But I think that that's part of the awareness. Let's see, Immune Ninja finishes up with, that will flip the blues out. Watch them go nuts. And they will go nuts. They will go absolutely nuts, because they've had it on easy street and it's been rigged.
They think they can do no wrong.
They're the smartest people in the room. Just ask them, they'll tell you. Every single time. Oh yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's, they've got all of that cognitive dissonance, all that programming from the tell lie vision that's been telling them that everything's going great. Yeah, they've been getting told that everything's great, and they can't see with their own eyes how awful everything is for everybody else. They may be doing good, but more and more of those people are waking up every single day. That's why the Bronx is turning blue. That's why New York City in general, red. That's why New York City in general is turning red. It is all happening because people are finally waking up, and this has been exactly what the Q, whatever you want to call it, the Q movement has been about. It has been about having people ask the questions. Yes. And once people start asking the questions, then they start to believe their eyes. Real eyes see real lies.
Yes.
Real eyes realize real lies. That's the phrase. It took me a second there. But people are starting to see the lies, and that is what's going to change this country and get it back on track to the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And so we need to rejoice and be happy with all of these little tidbits of news that more and more people are waking up and they're voting for Trump.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. The Great Awakening.
The Great Awakening, exactly what it is.
How about some Christian?
Always use Christian. Christian's brilliant.
You ready for a plot twist? What if Edward Snowden was a litmus test to see if we were asleep enough to delete the Fourth Amendment? I mean, our government is powerful enough that we can delete presidents and prime ministers. But Snowden walks the streets today in Russia without a hitch. My spidey senses tell me there's much more to this story.
Thoughts, Santino?
Christian always has some great observations. He's a brilliant dude, and he always just is able to see things that a lot of people don't see. The whole thing about Snowden being a litmus test as to whether or not we were willing to give up our Fourth Amendment. That's a very interesting question. A lot of Americans, especially right after 9/11, were very happy to give up our rights with the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was very much a grab to take our rights away from us. And so when Snowden came out, he released a whole lot of information, and basically it allowed unlawful searches and seizures and made them lawful. To sit there and listen to absolutely everything anybody does on any device, be it your phone, your computer, whatever it is, that they have the rights to collect that data. It's going on. It's been going on. That's what oh God, what was that thing that they just redid?
Which one?
Pissed off a lot of people about
FISA.
the FISA. Yeah. We need to stand up for this, but these are one of the things that we need to make certain that we're fighting to get our freedoms back.
Yes.
And that we need to change these things. People need the freedom to do dumb things. There's, one goes with the other. People are going to do stupid things, and that we have to allow people, because we've been given the freedom. So let's see. Brother Bill says Snowden's CIA number 17 all but said as much.
17 said as much.
17 said as much. Okay, there we go. I'm assuming we're going with Christian.
Yes.
So basically what he's saying, what Christian was getting at was, from my understanding of it, is that when Snowden was telling us about everything that our intelligence community was doing, that they were breaking into everybody's phone, that they were recording all of their conversations, that they were recording all of their emails, every single thing that you do has been recorded, is pretty much what Snowden was informing us of. And so we lost, because of the Patriot Act, our freedom from unlawful searches and seizures. These are searches, and it is a seizure of our data, even though you haven't done anything wrong, even though most of the citizenry hasn't done anything wrong, they're already collecting data on you. And so it was whether or not Americans were willing to stand up and fight to get rid of these kinds of things, like the FISA warrants, where they can just take your information. Now, with the FISA warrants, it goes really deep, and there is some kind of a court process that happens, but you're not made aware of it, and you have no right to defend yourself in that kind of scenario, because it's an ongoing investigation, so they say. But it basically means that they're collecting data, whether or not they even have a warrant on you, because of the methods and means with which they use. If I remember correctly, that's what one of the things Snowden was getting at is they just collect the data. But then again, this is also how we had seen one of those videos where people took their cell phones to Epstein Island, and you can just buy that data. And they made the map, and they found out where all these people are going. So Snowden was about the information coming out that they were collecting data on us, sometimes without a warrant. Brother Bill says Snowden is a gray hat at best, or I think Snowden is a gray hat. I know that Q was not kind to Snowden. I think they even called him a traitor on one of the Q posts, if I remember correctly. So that would mean to me that at the very least, he's a gray hat, exactly like you were saying. But what do we really know about Snowden at this point in time? He released a bunch of information. And we got a lot of that from WikiLeaks. And that is the reason why they're going after Julian Assange so hard, is because he was doing some real reporting like the press should have been doing this whole time.
Absolutely. How about some Red Maven?
Oh, I love, where's she been?
I know. They're always trying to, get her. I don't know if I have to read this one or not. So we'll see.
We'll see.
She said, what? Our country, and I say our country because it is our country, sends billions of dollars to maintain an apartheid government and support the ongoing ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. It is disgraceful that the Biden administration and my colleagues in Congress continue to smear them for protesting to save lives, no matter faith or ethnicity. It is cowardly. But we're not going to forget in November, are we?
Is she voting for Trump now? Well, it seems that's a very interesting movie narrative to push people away from Joey.
What? Did she say? Well, whoa, what?
Basically, that the Free Palestine movement is not going to vote for Biden.
Wow.
I don't have a feeling they're going to vote for Trump. I'm assuming that a lot of them are going to probably go with Kennedy, and that's okay. Bill, bringing us back to the other one, says, "If honestly, if Snowden had actually hurt the cabal, do you think he would still be breathing?" That's a good question.
I agree with Bethany Ann too. Regardless of the color of his hat, he exposed a lot.
He did expose a lot. Would he still be breathing? There's different rules when it comes to spies, and the fact that he went to Russia and probably got debriefed by the SVB, which is the old KGB, which is their version of the CIA. He probably spilled the beans on a lot of things, and probably hurt our collection abilities quite a bit. And so that would probably be the reason why Q called him a traitor. Now, with that being said, in spy games, sometimes I think you can call base. Like back in kindergarten when we were playing tag. If you're on base, then, so long as he never leaves, he's under their protection. That could be the only reason why Snowden is still breathing. Yeah. So back to the video yes, we're going to suck you on back over to that video. I really do. I think that they're going to be voting for Kennedy. I think that's why Kennedy is out there. I think that's also the reason why they've been denying Secret Service protection to Kennedy. And so this, like Red Maven was saying in that video, it's part of the movie. This is part of the awakening process. And this is also going to be one of those things to help guide those people who still aren't making those decisions for themselves, that those decisions are being making for them. That was a lot of, it was a lot of acronyms. It's what we did. Governments. The government loves all the governments.
Does.
Yeah, all the governments love their acronyms. Just, yeah, it's what it is. So I think that for something like this scenario, this is for the people that are still following what they're being told. Oh, right. I can't vote for Biden anymore. And she didn't say who to vote for, which, okay, kudos to her, good for that. But we know that most of those people that are the Free Palestine types are going to fall into the never Trumper category. But they are principled people, and I can appreciate people with principles, no matter how ridiculous I think their principles may be. And I understand that they think my principles are ridiculous. That's okay. So long as they're not voting for Biden, that is a vote for Trump either way. And I think that more and more people are going to be okay with that because of their principled nature. They're going to be okay if Trump wins, because deep down inside, they all know that the country was much better and that there were no Palestinian problems. And this will also give Trump the opportunity to bring up the fact that there was a peace deal brokered between Israel and Palestine and that there were no problems. Yeah. And so this will be a way for those who are pro-Palestine to hear that Trump actually did the good deeds and the problems ceased while he was president before, and he can make sure that happens again. So hopefully we can get those people, instead of going from Biden to Kennedy, but from Biden to Trump, like so many people we're seeing that happen all over this country at this point in time. And like she said, it's part of the movie. We just have to make sure that people are watching the movie and that it makes sense to them.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Well, thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes. Let's move on.
Let's talk about how many people atheists have killed. Atheism killed? Yep. Holy sh**. You're the most uninformed mother seen on the planet, and a demagogue. Really? Yeah. Was Mao Zedong an atheist? Mao Zedong was the leader of the people. How many people did Mao Zedong, as an atheist, murder? Good. All right. Roughly around 100 million. Mao Zedong, an atheist, murdered. How many people did Joseph Stalin, another atheist, murder? How many people did Joseph Stalin murder?
20 million.
Okay. So let's talk about how atheism opens you up to slaughtering people. Why? Why does atheism open you up to slaughtering people? It's the same answer to the question I asked you that you haven't answered. Why is a human being valuable? You got to answer the question, guys, every single one of you, because you deal with human beings every single day. So why is a human being valuable? Come on, guys, that's not a hard question. We're valuable because God created us, and God gave us innate value.
No, we're valuable because we're human beings, and we have an innate value that isn't defined by some ornate religious order. We are defined by our common interest in keeping each other alive. And the only people that want to destroy that are the enemies of the people, and they should be destroyed in a revolution. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Shut the up.
Well, he makes a rational argument.
Oh, yeah. Thoughts.
I was talking about Cliff.
Oh, okay.
Look, I know that there's atheists out there. Probably one of the better examples that I can see at this point in time from where I sit would be Penn Jillette. And he is a non-violent person through and through. But he also he thinks a lot of things through that a lot of people don't think through on. This guy obviously was not too happy about a lot of things in life. He's obviously a revolutionary based off of the way he was talking. He seems very collegiate to me. And that hostility, and this explains the whole Palestinian thing, the way people are acting on the universities. So I love the fact that Cliff goes out there and he brings the facts that atheists have caused a lot of problems because they start to think through these things, and they see other people as somehow less because they don't think the way they do. And that's a very dangerous, egotistical path that people can fall in. And they're okay visiting harm on people because they do believe that, we're some kind of, I don't know, disease or whatever. So these are things that need to be taken care of. And this is obviously somebody who has a lot of hurt in the past and is vehemently against any kind of religion at all. Obviously, if he chooses atheism, I'm going to say that there's some church hurt in there in that young man's past. And so he needs some love. The fact that he was constantly trying to interrupt and try to assume control of the area tells me that he comes from a weak position. Subconsciously, he knows that. And so he's afraid to hear the truth. And so Cliff being put in his path was a good thing. I'd love to hear more of that conversation and see where he ended up.
For me, though, liberals, atheists, people that don't have the facts, they all do that. Instead of letting you have a rational conversation, they want to interrupt you and talk louder and talk over you because they think that's going to make them win the conversation.
Well,
and I have a problem with that. Bring facts.
Well, bring facts, but also when you go into a discussion, a philosophical discussion, let's say Cliff shows up and somebody is there to try to present their side. Don't go to a philosophical conversation trying to win. There is no winning philosophy. There's no winning in a conversation for something that can't be proven in scientific means, right? And so when somebody's acting like that, we have to understand that's who they are, but it's the rational mind that we are seeking to communicate with. And Cliff was doing a pretty good job. He was, not taking any of his stuff. He was answering. He was bringing back the fact that the kid wasn't answering the questions. So Cliff was doing it the right way. But these are the conversations that need to be had. But if somebody's trying to dominate the conversation like that, then sometimes it's a little bit too much to try to continue. But at that same time, we have to show that when we're in conversations with people like that, that we cannot get emotionally involved in the conversation. Like, don't let your emotions rise to the other person's emotion. Keep level-headed. You know your thoughts, you know where you're at, and so be willing to have these conversations with people, but also understand that you deserve respect, and as much respect as you give them as well. And so sometimes people just need that gentle reminder. I've respected you by listening to you. I answer your questions. Please respect me by lowering your voice and answering my questions as well. Are you trying to come to some kind of understanding, or are you trying to make everybody just believe everything that you have to say? And sometimes those are the things we have to do in these conversations. Again, the America is an experiment in enlightenment, and that enlightenment can only happen through a rational discourse. And we must have that rational discourse, but we will always have people like that who are trying to step all over you, trying to keep you from talking, and that's going to happen. Just keep your cool, let them say their piece, and keep driving on with your point. Don't let them rattle you, because that's, in the end, they're rattled, and that's why they have a problem, is because they really don't know what they're talking about, but they just know that everything they say is the truth. So use your heart when we're doing those kinds of conversations, because we will all have to experience those at some point in time. Jan says, how can you be an atheist if you believe there is no God, at the same time acknowledge a God that you don't believe in? Well, atheism in general requires belief. And a lot of atheists, not all of them, a lot of atheists are under the assumption that it's not a belief system at all. Atheism is a belief system, because there is plenty of evidence to show one way or the other that there is a God and that there is not a God. But that's the beauty of God, is he's everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. And that is it's to make us ask the questions. God would not give us these minds to be able to ask these questions if he didn't want us to honestly ask them. And I know that there's a Bible quote about that, to honestly question. Honestly question, without a doubt. That's okay. We've been given this mind. But at the same time, be honest and willing to accept other perspectives than what you can see. And that's how we drive forward. And helping people believe or understand that whatever it is that they profess is a belief in the end, because there is no proof per se. But as we dive further and further into the Bible, we're almost 1.5 times through the Bible. We've done the Bible in a year last year, and we're getting close to halfway through this one. And I learned something each and every time. And when I learn something, I also see more proofs that he does exist, and that his hand is behind absolutely everything. And it's a hard thing for a lot of people to believe, because they can't understand why they would go through hard times if there is a God, and that he is the God of love. They just don't understand what real love is. And that, more often than not, is the thing that's the hardest thing to grasp, understand, and accept, is that he is the God of love. It's just sometimes we have to go through things that aren't loving.
Absolutely.
But It's for our own benefit in the end.
Yeah.
That's
Bill
why we had to
said-
have Biden, so that way we could figure out we don't need that crap ever again.
Bill says emotions are how they keep us divided and manipulated.
100%, Bill. 100%. The emotion, and that is in the end, if you're having philosophical discussions, an appeal to emotion is a logical fallacy. Appealing to someone's emotions keeps them from using their rational mind and keeping them from keeping the level head. When you have appealed to emotion, you end up with things like what that young man was doing, where he was just being louder as if that made him more right. That is an emotional response and not a rational one. And so when people are emotional and they appeal to people's emotions, that is not a rational argument. And sometimes it's okay to point that out, that you're appealing to people's emotions and that is not a rational thought, nor is that going to help anybody. So yeah, different ways of going about doing that.
Right.
Yep.
You ready?
Yeah.
Did you know that because of Psalm 91, early Christians didn't look at Satan as the grand architect of evil, but as kind of foolish and a downright idiot when facing Jesus? So we all know the powerful scene where Satan tempts Jesus in the wilderness, right? Testing Jesus in his identity. But ancient readers of the text may have gotten a whole different idea about Satan from this interaction that us moderns, we completely miss. And it all boils down to Satan's use of Psalm 91 during the temptation, a strategic error early Christians would have picked up on immediately. Even non-Christians know Psalm 91. It has the epic line, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Psalm 91's been around a long time. By the 6th through the 4th centuries BC, Psalm 91 was commonly recited to drive off evil spirits. And by the 3rd to 7th centuries AD, it was inscribed onto protective amulets for both Jews and Christians. When the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in 1947, there Psalm 91 was, considered one of the 4 psalms against demons used for exorcisms. Basically, Psalm 91 has been in use for a long time. But did you know that our version of Psalm 91 differs slightly from the version of Psalm 91 of Jesus's day? So during Jesus' time in Israel, the primary languages were Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Aramaic was the norm among common Jews. Hebrew was used by the elite for religious texts and rituals, and Greek was the primary language of the Eastern Mediterranean region, widely spoken and understood, especially among travelers, business owners, the educated, and Gentiles. Hence the reason why when the New Testament letters were written, when the Gospels were written, Greek, 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 Greek. As discussed before, it is a verifiable fact that the earliest New Testament writers based their understanding of the Old Testament on the Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible that was in wide use throughout the Mediterranean world. In its initial rendering, whether it's from Moses' day, David's day, or a later writer's day, what we call Psalm 91 was about not fearing violent enemies, pestilences, or disasters, because we are with God. You shall not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, or of the destruction that wastes at noon. And that's Psalm 91, 5-6. But in the 3rd to 2nd centuries BC, when the Hebrew scriptures were translated to Greek, the Greek translators saw reference to demonic forces. And it's not because Greek translators were trying to steer the conversation a certain way. It was a simple assumption to make because vowels weren't included in the ancient Hebrew texts. So depending on what vowels were attached, the word pestilence and destruction could also be translated as thing or evil spirit. And the Greek translators, when it came to choosing between 2 different meanings, well, this is the same verse in the Septuagint. Thou shalt not be afraid of terror by night, nor of the arrow flying by day, nor of the evil thing that walks in darkness, nor of calamity and the evil spirit at noonday. Now, of course, our Bible's Old Testament nowadays is based off the Masoretic version of the Hebrew Bible created through the 6th through 10th centuries. But the original writers of the New Testament wrote in Greek, writing off a Greek text, the Septuagint. And Psalm 91 this way was their understanding of the text. So when Satan tempts Jesus in Matthew 4, 5-6, saying, hey, if you're the Son of God, jump on down, because it's written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone, which is from Psalm 91, by the way. Jesus immediately fires back with Deuteronomy 6:16. Again, it's written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. That's Matthew 4:7. But Jesus knows all about Psalm 91. He knows the intent of Psalm 91, and that in context, Psalm 91 is about God's promise of his protection to those who make God their dwelling place. But 1st through 4th century Christians who based their understanding of the Hebrew Bible off the Septuagint would have also known that the very words from Psalm 91 that Satan is referencing were from a potent prayer that guarded against forces of darkness. They would have seen that Satan is quoting from a prayer that was commonly used to disempower himself. Literally, Satan could have picked out a verse from anywhere, and he cherry-picked lines from a prayer designed to drive him away. In Matthew 4, to those familiar with the Septuagint, Satan isn't coming across as a grand master and architect of evil. He's coming across as a bumbling idiot when confronting the Son of God. This isn't a cosmic battle of wits. This is showing Satan playing into Jesus' hands and being defeated from the start, called out at his own game of twisting scripture, as if Jesus had anything to fear from such an inferior opponent. Quite likely, ancient readers probably would have had a little chuckle when reading this. So what's the lesson? Number 1, Christians should never empower a disempowered devil. Number 2, don't cherry pick verses, especially when it's going against the context of what you're pulling from. Get your butt in trouble. And 3, studying Bible history in light of culture and translation reveals so much crazy stuff about faith and belief. And it's a bit of fun. God bless. See you soon.
That was awesome.
That is awesome.
Thoughts?
I want to hear yours first.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
You know, it makes
Actually,
sense.
before we get to that, Edward Bernays was the father of basically modern propaganda.
Okay.
All right.
And you said it before it popped up from Bill.
Oh,
Anyway,
there we go.
what I was going to say is you do have to be careful of translations, and you do have to kind of dig and find out stuff for yourself. Don't ever believe what is told to you, even from us. Look it up, dig, make sure that you are, looking into everything, because even when I was in college, and I know how much you
I don't dislike college. I just don't dislike the system and the way it's set up. So that way, like I can't even use my GI Bill because it's so jacked up that they use it as a weapon against me. But that's for another time.
Anyway, so even when I was going to school, even in high school, in college, I looked up everything and I questioned everything. And a lot of my teachers and a lot of my professors did not like me because of that. But I'm also not going to take things at face value. I'm going to ask those questions. And so I think that's part of America's problems. And I'm just going to be honest and probably a little harsh right now, but we're lazy. Americans have turned so lazy that they're willing to just, oh, okay.
Well, I think that that's observed every day when you talk to a lot of people and you can tell that all they've ever read, even in the comments in news articles, you can tell that people just read the headline and didn't bother reading the stuff inside the article. Words are hard. Are all articles worth reading? Not necessarily, but at the same time, you should at least read the article, especially if there's a catchy headline, because other people are going to read that headline and they're going to talk about that. And this is how people get talking points as opposed to actually understanding what's going beyond it. And that's why I think it's very important to do much more than just merely get your understanding of the Bible from other people. Don't get your understanding from only other people. Certainly talk to other people and get your understanding and increase your understanding and knowledge of all of these things, be it the Bible, the news, whatever it is, from your own research. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining us. And so it's funny that he says, Well, there's a lot of great points that were in that little video there, but I think it's funny that he says that even Satan was cherry picking. He was, and we see that all the time where people take a little piece of the scripture and they'll try to make some fantastical thing about it. It was like that. What was it? The LGBTQ plus thing where they said that Jesus was like a mother hen. So they were trying to say that Jesus was transgender. And it was like, what? But that's what people do. And so it's important for us to have a deeper understanding. And the only way we can have a deeper understanding, be it scripture or the news or whatever it is that we are discussing at that point in time, we need to have much more than just a surface level of understanding of what we're talking about. And we should have that intellectual curiosity, enough intellectual curiosity to be able to read the whole thing or watch the whole video or whatever the case is, whatever the media is, to get that deeper understanding. Because if you don't try to get that, then your intellectual curiosity needs its game stepped up a little bit. And so we all need to step up our game. And the way we can defend ourselves, like the thing that I learned from that video is that was one of the 4 Psalms that they use for exorcisms. But I found that fascinating. I thought that there was like a whole different like book or something for exorcisms. Not that I'm planning on going out and doing exorcisms or anything like that, but it's also something to just keep in the brain housing group and use that knowledge moving forward in the future. Yeah, that was pretty interesting little thing there. And I love when people go back to the Septuagint. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
I got another Christian.
Woot woot. There's Christian again.
I love it when they eat their own.
Biden administration suspends funding for scientists at Center of COVID Lab Leak Theory. The Biden administration has said it has suspended from all federal funding programs the scientist at the heart of the lab leak theory of the origins of the coronavirus and proposed blocking him from receiving federal funding in the future. I think we're done on YouTube now. The Department of Health and Human Services. I know I could. I didn't think about it till now. The Department of HHS sent a letter to Peter Daszak on Tuesday, less than a week after the agency took similar action against Daszak's organization, Eco Health Alliance, EHA.
I tried so hard and got so hard, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Santino.
Well,
Please don't say that word again.
yeah, I know. So the funding has been yanked. Isn't that interesting? And we know that that's what makes this entire little swamp system go around and around is the funding. The funding, they've been losing funding and they've been sending so much funding to Ukraine and so many other places that they can't send funding to all of the things. Hey, Wendy. That they send funding. They don't have the funds to send everywhere to do all of the things that they used to do. And this is going to be one of those things where they're going to have a difficult time trying to keep the charade up, to keep the house of cards standing. It's not going to be able to continue to stand because they just don't have the power that they used to, because the funds aren't there. The IRS is doing absolutely everything they can to try to keep from paying people out. People that used to get thousands of dollars in refunds are now having to pay all of a sudden. And all of these people are asking questions, and more people are getting fed up and tired with it. And people just aren't complying the way they used to. And so when the funds dry up, that means the gig is up, and the gig is almost up, folks. And they won't be able to do the things that they did before to keep the legacy media machine doing what it used to do, because they don't get the advertisements that they used to. The companies that they used to have advertising anymore, or that they used to have advertising on there to keep things like CNN, who ended up losing their CNN tower. They had to move out of that because they couldn't afford it anymore. All of these legacy giants won't be able to make the magic happen that they made happen before. And so now is the time to sit back and watch. And this is not anything that's going to open anybody's eyes to much of anything. Maybe somebody who's deep into the Rona theory, maybe will help them out some. But for the most part, this is just one more indicator. It's a sign and an indicator that says that they're ready to do what they did before, and that we should rejoice in the fact that Trump will be your president yet again.
And I just want to say real quick that this show is for entertainment purposes only, and everything we're saying, we're just making up.
That's all, yeah. Entertaining. Aren't you entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you ready?
Yes.
This world is not what you think it is. Let's talk about frequency, vibration, and cymatics. And if you think you've seen this video before, no, you haven't. Take a look at this. On the left was the old standard tuning frequency for the entire world of A432 hertz. It got changed in the 1930s to what you saw on the right, which is the new standard tuning frequency of A440 hertz. Take a look again and tell me what you see. The one on the left is beautiful and symmetric. The one on the right is blurry, very distorted, as you can obviously see. Keep this information in mind. Now check this out. That was a combination of a specific frequency at a certain decibel level, and the decibel level plays a very big part of all of this, going so hard that the vibrations were transforming the shape of the actual metal on the car and the glass. And I know some people are going to say that's trick photography. That's not what it's really doing. That's not true. Yes, if you slow it down, you slow the frame rates down, it does look more dramatic when you show it on film, but that's absolutely still taking place. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to visually see through the glass or the metal door into the car. Now here we see it again in nature. These patterns are absolutely everywhere in nature. What happens when we speak? It kind of gives a whole new meaning to the Creator speaking the heavens and the earth into existence. Anyways, check these out. What you saw on the left are actual old stained glass windows, still found in many Tartarian cathedrals that are still standing. What you saw on the right are actual harmonic frequencies, represented visually via cymatics when those notes are played. Take a look at it again. Now, most of us have experienced some sort of miraculous divine healing that could have only come from our Creator. If you haven't experienced it, maybe a family member or a friend has. But what if in the process of creation, He created some things to actually help assist us in not only staying healthy, but facilitating some tangible physical healing as well? Take a look at these organs in this cathedral. Again, these cathedrals are still all over the world. Is it safe to say that perhaps the windows on the outside of those cathedrals represented the frequency in which that cathedral resonated at? What if between these loud organs being played, the resonance of the actual cathedral, the decibel level at which this stuff was played at, what if it shook people's insides and reverberated at such a level that it broke the inconsistencies within their body, all the harmful things that actually end up causing many people their lives in the long run? We see this technology now. They use it for kidney stones, don't they? It's not mysticism. It's not fantasy. It's something that's real and tangible that a lot of us just don't understand. Now, I want you to think again about the possibility of why they call organs organs. And how much of our body is made up of water? I already showed you what vibrations at certain frequencies and certain decibels can do to a car, a vehicle, metal, glass. How much more so does that stuff impact our bodies and our brain? Is it possible that the people at the very top know this and have known this, and that they weaponized it against us to manipulate us, hurt us, create conflict, push us to do certain things we don't want to do, influence us in every single way? There's a reason why scripture says that the power of life and death is in the tongue. Our words are very powerful, as is the music that we listen to and the frequencies that we allow into our lives. To such an extent that I've made it my mission to only make 432 hertz music from here forward. And I've already started that mission. So if you want to feel the difference, check out my next pinned video and you'll see the difference. Play it loud in a vehicle, let it wash over you, use headphones, and just focus on coming face to face with the creator of all. And if you truly want to have an encounter with him, you will.
Thoughts, Santino?
We've talked about this a lot here, about
We
energy,
do.
frequency, and vibration, about the 432 versus 440. We've talked about the churches with the pipe organs. Even an experience that I had when I was a kid. Went to an old church up in northern Nevada, and there was a pipe organ there, and I still to this day remember how it felt like the sound was coursing through my body, and there was a different feeling, and I truly
Very
felt
different.
something much different than just what you normally hear. I think that there's been enough videos. I thought that a lot of people understood that loud music made the doors and the glass vibrate. That's what that sound is. It's just that's what it looks like when somebody's playing that big bass and the glass is moving and the door is moving. It's literally a wave, which goes to show the whole Tesla everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. It's just it sets the vibration in a different frequency while the music is playing, and that's why we're able to see the glass in the door move that way. And he was showing the cymatic pattern, and there's a whole science about cymatics. And with the 432 being extremely organized, everything was in its place. And the 440, I say the 440 is more of a transitional sound, going to one of the next frequencies that are set with the proper patterns based off of a 432 I think 432A sets the different tones throughout the music scale. And so that chaos that we see, that jumbledness that we saw in the 440 definitely explains why people are having problems. Also, and are we going to share him in the Telegram channel so that way people can find the music that he's making? We can try to make that happen. Yeah, we'll try to make
I'll
that happen.
try.
Yeah, Kay will make that happen. But with that being said, you can easily go on YouTube and do some of the old classical music. Keep in mind, Bach and Beethoven, these people, a lot of the greats, they all understood what music actually did, and they wrote it in 432 hertz. That was well before. And so what you're seeing now is that you can find some of that classical music. And it is they slow it down to change the tone to a 432, and so it actually feels different when you listen to the two. There's a lot of different experiments that you can find online where people show the difference, and you close your eyes and you can, if you're really paying attention to it, you can certainly feel a difference between what you hear with a 432 tune versus a 440 tune. Yeah, it's something definitely working into and worth looking into. I know I jumbled my words there. Words are hard. Anyways, I know that it's something that is worth looking into, and I think that you will be pleased with what you see. And I think that you will feel a difference. But that's something part of your own research that you should certainly go do and see how it affects you. This is one of those things where you have to do your own research. You know, the research can't be done for you. Have somebody else tell you how you feel about way sounds affect you and your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
I am not okay. I'm barely getting by. I'm losing track of days. I'm losing sleep at night. I am not okay. I'm hanging on the rails. So if I say I'm fine, just know I learned to hide it well. I know I can't be the only one who's holding on for dear life. But I know, God knows, when it's all said and done, I'm not okay, but it's all gonna be all right.
I remember I'd seen that face before.
Yeah, a couple of those guys in those pictures he lost.
Yeah. It's tough.
It's tough.
It's
It's a tough day.
What's up, F Clan? How you doing, man?
Hey, F Clan.
Hope everything's going good.
So what are your thoughts on that?
The loss of life is terrible. The loss of life is terrible no matter what the scenario. But
And it's okay to not be okay.
it is okay to not be okay.
Not just today, but any day.
Any day. They gave their lives, and today is just the memory of the people who did not make it back home. Because that is something that we should respect, because they did give their life for something greater than themselves. And that is the ultimate sacrifice. For
And
what
that's-
greater love?
And that's exactly why this is the second year we have really tried to explain how important Memorial Day is. It's not a happy occasion. It is a somber occasion. And it is about the people who gave it all. Some, some give a lot, but a lot give it all for our freedoms. And that's what today is about.
Most certainly. But we are happy that we still have this nation. We are still happy that we have this Constitution that we live under.
Yes.
And we're happy that we are willing, and that there are so many people who still find the importance of this American experiment, that it's worth risking it all to make sure that it continues.
Yeah. It's a tough day.
It is a tough day.
You ready?
Yeah.
Seneca said it was the one thing all fools had in common. They say, I'll get to it later. I'll do it after, once I finish, tomorrow. What makes you think you have that luxury? Nobody knows what the future holds. No one knows how much time we have left. Life is happening right now, this second, Fools are always delaying to live. Fools are always getting ready to start. Don't be a fool. Live today. Do it now.
All right, Santino.
It's something I know I've done, so I'm clearly a fool. But I've always put things off. I'm a professional procrastinator, and it's one of the things that I've certainly had to work on, and it's something that I work on every single day, and that is not putting things off. When I recognize that there's something that needs to be done, that I get it taken care of right then and there. Don't put it off to the side in hopes that you'll remember to take care of it later. We're always procrastinating, and procrastination is one of the things that kind of got all of us to where we're at right now. And that is because we were content to deal with these problems that were creeping up over time. The how to boil a frog scenario. Oh, we'll deal with that later. We'll deal with that later because it's not that important right now. But what we're recognizing is that it is that important, that it does need to be dealt with right now. And so, as we're starting to deal with all of these things that have caused all of these problems, not only personally in our own lives, but nationally as Americans and as global people in this globe, there are problems that need to be dealt with everywhere. And it's time. It's time for us to start doing the things now. And if you have that inspiration, and if you are in that spot where you are in the middle of doing something, and this is a little side quest, if you want to use video game terms, a little side quest to get this other thing taken care of, understand that you need to do that little side quest, that task, that whatever it is. And that the more of these things that we get done on an individual basis, the better it is for everybody else. And then it becomes our community here locally in your own neighborhood, or in your city, or in your state, or in the nation, wherever it may be. It can have much greater impacts. And so as we get used to doing the things that we used to push off to the side, we'll recognize that fewer and fewer things come back to bite us in the ass in the future. And it's those problems that come back to bite us in the ass in the future that are real big problems, because they've had a chance to grow at that point. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of all of the little things, and that if you sit down to take a rest, and you recognize that there's still one more thing that needs to be done, go do that one more thing. You're not going to feel bad because you got something accomplished. You'll feel more bad that you didn't get that thing accomplished, and then you won't be able to relax because you didn't get that thing done, whatever it was, back when you had the chance to do it, because you might not always have that chance. And that's the other point. We don't know when our final breath will be. We don't know when we will be able to have that opportunity to do something again. And we may not ever have that opportunity. So let us make sure that we're getting everything done, because we might be the only people who could do it. Imagine if Trump said, I just don't have time for that right now.
Right.
When we as a nation needed him the most.
Absolutely.
So make sure that you're going out and getting all the things done, because other people might not have that opportunity. And so it might make that difference for everybody else. And you might be the only person who can do it.
And I just want to throw a little seasoning on
Throw some
that.
seasoning on it.
Don't do what I do. I am the complete opposite of Santino. When I feel like I have to do something, I will drive myself nuts until it gets done. And I put myself through so much anxiety that a lot of times, if we're out doing something, I can't relax because I'm thinking I need to do this and this and this and this and this.
That's
and
somewhere
this
else.
when I get home.
Yeah.
So don't do that either.
Down.
Yeah, I know.
That's what lists are for.
I know.
Everybody loves
But
lists.
Don't do that either. Enjoy the time, because I will tell you that being a military wife, I can tell you that one of the things that I realized when Santino was first deployed was all the things that I did instead of spending time with him. And I can tell you, vacuuming wasn't as important as spending time with him. So don't drive yourself too crazy. Make a list, but also don't wait, 2 weeks to get it done. Have a balance. Have a balance and make sure that you stay within that balance. Just like I told you guys earlier, I am struggling right now because I don't know what God's purpose for me is. And that's because I'm so hard on myself. And
don't do that.
And I'm trying to get past that. So, and I have it written down on my little post-it note over there. Allow yourself grace.
Now, if she just apply that.
And now if I could just apply it to myself.
You're doing fine. You're doing great, babe. Anyways, you're fine. It's about finding balance, folks.
Yes.
And that's what we're getting at here. Anyways, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net. We appreciate all of you joining us here today.
Absolutely. And if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind, please just hitting that thumbs up button on Rumble, hit the heart over on X, take that red pill over on Pilled, and if you wouldn't mind, please share this out to someone who you think might need it. And also hit that notification button so you know when we do go live.
There you go. All right, everybody. We thank you all for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow at same time.
Same dat time,
Same dat time,
dat channel,
same dat
whichever
time, same
you
dat
guys
channel. There we go.
prefer it.
Yeah, there we go. All right. We love you all. Have a good rest of your Memorial Day. Keep somebody in mind that gave that ultimate sacrifice and recognize that those are the people that we are fighting this fight for.
Absolutely.
We love you all. Have a great night and be safe.